Now we have to move on to our next story, and this is going to be a short video. So Jerome, if you wouldn't mind playing it for us,
I gotcha.
It's with good old Joe Biden and I forget which Cuomo he is now.
One of the Cuomo.
One of the Cuomo.
I don't even know.
Everyone,
Chris.
Don't worry, everyone.
Chris Cuomo.
Kit is having a Biden moment.
I am. By looking at Biden right now, I'm having a Biden moment. But you know, on yesterday's show, we talked about like how the fact that the Wisconsin primary was happening, and of course, the governor of Wisconsin wanted to postpone it, but the Wisconsin Supreme Court and then even the Supreme Court itself decided to let it happen and also let absentee ballots basically disappear like that. So we're going to get the response of Joe Biden and his thoughts on the Wisconsin primary, because he was his campaign was all for it, but now all of a sudden there's a flip flop. So Jerome, hit it.
Let's go.
Do you think you won in Wisconsin tonight? Ordinarily, I'd be hitting you over the head with all these exit polls and crosstabs and things that I know about people all the way down to what they like for lunch. We're not going to have anything until Monday. What's your gut?
No, we're not. Well, my gut is that we shouldn't have had the election in the first place. The in-person election. It should have been all mail ballots in. It should have been moved in the way that 5 other states have done it. It's the idea didn't have enough poll workers in over 100 and some polling places in Milwaukee.
Do you think you won in Wisconsin tonight?
All right. So first, again, who is advising this man? Because obviously his handlers are not really prepping him. And the second thing, too, is do you have any idea how many people right now have probably either exposed themselves to COVID-19 or right now currently got infected with COVID-19 because, again, there probably wasn't put in enough safety measures to protect the voters of Wisconsin? I don't know how many communities, families, just average people are going to be impacted by this, because the DNC and the RNC and the Supreme Court and the Wisconsin Supreme Court and the Biden campaign wanted to let the Wisconsin primary to happen. It should have been shut down. It should have been stopped. So at least the governor of Wisconsin. Yeah, go ahead.
Really quick, Jerome, can you share what I just shared?
Yeah, sure. Give me 1 second.
Oh, look at that. Very different.
Wow. Wow. Well done, Biden campaign. And now all of a sudden your guy just went on national television to say it shouldn't have happened. The voting shouldn't have happened. It should have been all mail in. Well, guess what? We don't have that. We don't have that in this country right now. We don't have election integrity. We don't have the ability to make sure that votes are protected because of neoliberals like Joe Biden and the DNC establishment and the RNC establishment. So many people are going to get hurt because of this, because the DNC wants to make sure everyone's out there to vote because they want to stop Sanders. And now Sanders, he's out. Well, hey, everyone's now starting to take a step back. Like, maybe we should have postponed all those primaries. Gee, maybe we should have protected the American people. Oh, no, the American people don't have health care. Oh, no, the American people are right now going bankrupt. Way to go, Joe Biden. This is the guy that's going to lead us. This is the guy that's going to beat Trump. Look, I know that the DNC and corporate media and a lot of neoliberals right now have Trump derangement syndrome, but you guys got to really get over it, because you're not going to rally around progressives and independents and, yes, quote unquote, modern Republicans to vote for Biden. Good luck. At least Trump has at least somewhat able to have the ability to keep it together. Joe Biden flip-flops all the time. He always Bidened it up. Like we always say on the show, Joe Biden, since 2019, corporate media has been praising Joe Biden as the guy that's going to beat Trump. They've been saying that he was the strongest candidate. Have you not been paying attention to the last debates? Have no one been paying attention to the last previous interviews that Joe Biden's been having with corporate media? And they could try and protect him and shield him as much as they can, but guess what? It won't work. And Trump, knowing Trump, yes, he's a horrible person. Yes, I hear all this stuff. What about Russia? What about Trump and corruption? Well, the DNC is just as corrupt as Trump, okay? Remember, he was one time a Democrat and actually donated to a certain senator named Hillary Clinton when she was running for office. So, good luck.
Went to her daughter's wedding.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
No, they also
went to, buddies.
Yeah, they went to his wedding. They went to his wedding too. So it's all one big club, and you're not part of it. So when Trump starts demolishing Joe Biden, don't start blaming Bernie Sanders supporters and progressives and independents. Don't start blaming anyone that's not going to vote for Joe Biden, because you know what? You all rallied around a guy that is weak. You decided to commit election fraud for a guy that's weak. and let's say the convention happens and all of a sudden someone has a Joe Biden, good luck with convincing enough Democratic supporters to rally around somebody else that you magically pick out of a hat to be the nominee, because it just won't work. And how do I know that? Because I saw an election very similar to this way back in the early days of Rahm Emanuel's administration, where Chuy Garcia had to step up to run against Rahm Emanuel. It wasn't enough time to get his message out there. So if anything happens to Joe Biden and you pick another candidate, well, great, you get at ground zero again. But then what was this whole primary all about? Guys, real quick, your comments and concerns, your thoughts on Joe Biden, a flip-flopping. Kira, take it away.
Yeah, okay, so I think this story pisses me off more than any other story on our rundown, even Bernie dropping out. I think it's criminal. I think the Wisconsin Supreme Court should be held liable for this. I think the U.S. Supreme Court should be held liable for this, for not extending the mail-in voting. I think Joe Biden is an asshole for flip-flopping on this, for not stopping people from going to vote. I think the DNC can go fuck themselves. And, you know, it's interesting because I don't think it's a very good business model to be killing the people who are supposed to be voting for you, especially when the voting was so close to begin with. It's insane. Everything about this is disgusting. Everything about this disgusts me. And I was looking up some numbers, Ohio versus Michigan, COVID cases, right? So just a little background. Ohio postponed their primaries. And also just to let you guys know, just to remind you or let you know, the DNC also threatened to for any states that were postponing their primaries to give them fewer delegates. And so the DNC was literally threatening states who wanted to postpone their primaries. This is crazy. And so anyway, Ohio did postpone their primaries, whereas Michigan didn't, and they went ahead and voted on the 10th of March. Well, as of Saturday, Michigan has 14,225 cases and 540 deaths of COVID. Ohio has 3,739 and 102 dead. 14,000 versus like less than 4,000, 540 deaths versus 102 dead. And that was like, okay, but what's the population of Ohio versus Michigan? Certainly Michigan has more people, and that's why people are dying, right? No, Michigan doesn't even have 10 million people. Ohio's at 11.7 million people. Wow. So you can't even argue the number of people inside of the state. It is criminal. That and then you hear the Democrats saying bullshit like, oh, okay, well, Trump's gonna have blood on his hands for all of the mucking up of this whole situation that he's done, or the lying to save the economy and all that. And while sure, I could get on board with that, I'm gonna say equally as so, the DNC also, and Joe Biden being the leader of that organization, that criminal organization, also has blood on his hands. Fuck the DNC.
So here's another thing that we have in all this. The DNC has like blown their entire ability to have the upper hand in this, because they should have gotten Joe Biden in a room. He's already in a room. They should have kept Joe Biden in that room and then gone, hey, we know we have no power over this, but you should say that they should postpone the primary. It's low voter turnout. They're going to do, the Democratic Party loves low voter turnout anyway, so they shouldn't even have to say anything. The fact that they interjected themselves in the first place was a mistake, because they're going against their own governor. Second, it takes anything they could say about Trump. Like here, okay, watch this. I'm going to role play with myself on this. Democratic Party, through reporters, goes, Donald Trump, you didn't handle this COVID-19 crisis all that well. Donald Trump, well, Joe Biden wasn't even there, and he was telling people to go vote. Yeah. So that's the other thing. But Joe Biden is not going to be here for this entire crisis. He's going to be in the background. And so anytime anyone attacks Trump on anything on this issue, all he's going to have to say is, where was Biden? He didn't even do anything. I did stuff. I made the best plans. I got the best redirections of masks. I put more ventilators in New York than Joe Biden ever could have, and he didn't even know that ventilators existed, or something like that.
And there's another thing too.
By the way, can I say this really quick? I learned about this today. I was reading some articles. Do you guys know what the death rate for people that are put on ventilators is?
No.
COVID?
Oh, I think I just saw that.
It's like 60%.
Jesus.
So that's the other part of this, is that a huge amount of people are on ventilators, keeping them alive. well, the numbers might change, but from what I read, but half of them are going to die. So this death count's going to keep going up over time. And
you know, there's another thing too, and that is, you know, Kira, we actually had our primary, and Governor J.B. Pritzker, who keeps going back and forth, says, Trump, look, I'm 50-50 on it, but at the end of the day, too, even Pritzker has a little bit of blood in his hand because he could have stopped it, but he was pretending like,
definitely.
You know, I don't know if it's legal or not. You know, hey, JB, look, you're saying a lot of good things, but at the end of the day, my biggest criticism towards you is you allowed this primary to happen. And all of us saw firsthand on Election Day on March 17th just how unsanitary some of these polling stations were, the lack of accountability. And we can thank the DNC and Joe Biden and his campaign for allowing it to happen. And if Trump doesn't capitalize on this, I don't know what to really advise him on. But Trump has a lot of ammunition right now to take out the DNC and the Joe Biden campaign. And so good luck. Good luck, DNC, because your guy just doesn't have what it takes. And I think that's going to be
really? Here, I got one more thing. Going back to when you were talking about the weddings. You know the difference? So it's like Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton get invited to what's her name? Liking on Trump's daughter. What's her name?
Ivanka?
Ivanka. Yeah.
Ivanka.
Bill Clinton gets to come over and touch up Ivanka, and then when it's the other way around, Trump gets to come over and handle up Chelsea. That's the way it's done.
Oh God!
Oh, God Almighty!
What circles is this?
Oh, this is the circles we're talking about. Yes.
Yeah, it's one big club. Yeah,
hey,
one big club.
This is the one big club. You incriminate yourself. I have incriminating evidence on you, but I also have done incriminate things that you have on me. So everyone's okay.
My brother and I, when we were younger, because we were left at home alone all the time, we used to have this thing called mutual destruction lists, where we would have shit on each other, and then we would bargain with each other to not tell on each other. And this is what the RNC and the DNC do with each other as well.
This is what the rich do. I mean, in general.
And this is the neoliberal system. And yet somehow this is the guy that vote blue no matter who people think can beat Trump. This general election is going to be very interesting. I'm very curious to see how everything plays out now that Joe Biden is officially the nominee, and what this election will mean and just how much of a disaster it will be. We will be covering that general election hopefully in our studio on election night. And I, for one, am going to vote with my conscience. I'm going to vote third party. I'm not going to speak for the rest of the team members. You guys do whatever you want, but that's going to be the final note.
Yeah. Actually, on that note, is anyone voting in this room for the major two parties? Like, I think all of us are not.
No.